Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 PS4 review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, which if you've never played it before, it's basically an action adventure. It's, I think, the second reboot, so overall the third time that the start of Tomb Raider has been told. However, it's never been done anything like this before. The totally went right back to before Lara was even Lara, and that's what this is. It's the evolution of Lara into, well, the kick-ass heroine that we all know her as, and I think it does an absolutely fantastic job at doing so, albeit a little bit badly at times. It's one of those, now I will get into the story in a bit later and I will explain that. At the start, as you might notice, there's a continue, new game. Obviously the continue's there because I've went on to continue before. Multiplayer, which is atrocious and there's no other way to put it. I absolutely hate it. Extras, which there's a few things in the extras and I will go into that in a minute. Options, there's a few things to mention with the options as well. The multiplayer, I don't know if I've already said it and I apologise if I have. I'm not going to show it because it's just really, really bad, and it's just one of those things that I'll get on to another reason why I dislike it and why I'm not happy with it. But for now, the extras, as you can see, there's videos, there's concept art, there's character models, you get a comic book, a digital art book, loads of credits. You get, the character models are a little bit weird, because you get 3 character models of Lara, and they're virtually identical. And I mean, as you can see there, I'm just scrolling through them, and they're basically Lara regular, then a little more beat up, then a little more beat up, and it's just one of them. You also get some for the enemies as well. The concept art, there's quite a lot of it. There's ones for environments, there's special and things like that, and some of it's pretty cool. Videos, there's basically trailers, and then you get a couple of story videos, so I'm not going to show them off or anything. So on to, I suppose, actually starting the game, of which I'm on a file that's very near the end, but I'm not going to be mentioning any spoilers or anything. I've done that because it's kind of like a Metroidvania. There are so many upgrades and new weapons and abilities and things like that that you get as you go through, and it also means that you have to go back an awful lot, you have to backtrack. And it's why I've went into a later file, just to be able to show you some of the later stuff. So if you don't like any sorts of spoilers or anything at all like that in that way, then you're probably best off not watching now. If you're okay with that and you just don't want any story spoilers, then that's fine, because I'm not going to be showing or mentioning any of the key points or anything, you know. The first thing you might notice is that graphically the game is beautiful. And it really is. There are some moments that are astounding. Me and my brother were kind of graphic fanboys for the first time in a long time, because we've owned the game since launch on the PC, but we'd heard it looked better on the PS4, so we thought, well, we'll try it, and as far as I'm concerned, well, we're concerned, it looks beautiful, and we're glad we did it, especially considering, because of how much I've been going to be able to trade the game in for, I'll have essentially got it for, like, £2 or something, you know. Weaponry wise, as you can see, I'm cycling through some stuff now. There's shotgun with incendiary shells, there's bow and arrow where you get explosive rounds and incendiary rounds, there's rifle where you can get a grenade launcher and a silencer and that, and there's a pistol where you can get a silencer as well. And they're your 4 main weapons. And it's different rounds do different things, do different damage, do different abilities. There's then also a heap of upgrades for them, of which you can just do all sorts. Like, you can make everything a little bit better, or make it carry more ammo or things like that. There's a ton of outfits, and they were in the form of DLC, but on the Definitive it comes with all the DLC. However, I don't really like any of them. This is probably the best one that I can show off, because it's the only one I mildly like, but there's none of them that are any good. It's a bit of a shame that they don't do a wink and a nod to the original and have done like the original classic outfit, but toned up more to make it more adult, because that's what the game is. You've then got a lot of skills, and there's just all sorts of stuff. There's things to make you better at fighting, both hand to hand and weaponry. There's things that allow you to find items better, or get more salvage and that to be able to upgrade better. The finding items ones basically take all the skill out of the majority of the hunting part of the game, because you can just scan the field and it'll show you where things are, and then you just have to work out how to get it. And it's a bit of a shame, but at the same time it allowed me to beat the game 100% because I was on a time limit of quickly trading it in, because I already owned the game obviously, so I was able to beat it, and I'm now going to be able to trade it in right away because I've got a 100% file. And it's just one of those things that it was good at the time, but thinking about it, it would have been nicer had that not been there, because it would have made it a lot harder. Because I'm going through the map now, and as you can see, I already had a load of files, well, a load of areas completed on this file, and it just basically shows you where the tombs are and that, and it does take a lot of the exploration out just by being able to do that. It means that basically, if you want to, you can play through the game without exploring it all, get them, then go back. But you can play it the other way, obviously. It's not mandatory unless you get them, and then there's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no way to turn it off. Once you unlock them, that's it, it's done forever. But there's just items all over the place, and there'll be relics and things, and it's really cool because it gives you a narrative every time you get something. There's also journal logs, and that's a narrative as well, and it just works really well to give you a lot more backstory, which is quite interesting. But it's all obviously optional as well. There's ammo and things scattered about all over the place, and there's also, I don't want to use the term meat, but that's essentially what it is, because it's animals, but you've got to hunt them for food, even though you don't have to eat. There's like one time on the entire game where you're told to hunt for food, and I thought, oh, this is going to add a new dynamic, I'm going to have to keep hunting and make sure I've got my rations up. At no point do you have to do it again after that first time. So I just don't understand that choice, because it's again, it feels like they were trying to go grown up and then decided, you know what, let's just make a unable to, or unneeding to eat. Let's just get rid of that. And that's what I was wanting to say about the story as well. It's so grown up in so many ways, and it got in a lot of controversy for how grown up it was, because there is a certain scene which, again, if you don't want any spoilers or know anything about it, then that's fine, but let's just say there is a certain scene, and a lot of people said it was horrific, and I actually think it's done okay. It's one of them, had they went really graphic, then I don't think it would have been. By the way, this what I'm doing now isn't just to show you the view or anything. This is to show you the when you press L1, it's your survival instincts, and that's what finds things, and it shows you little hints and that, so it shows you what you can grapple onto and things. But back to the story. Had there been a bit more graphic with the scene, I would have understood why people kicked off, but I actually think they handled it okay. And I think it was also a very empowering moment, because it basically, again, it shown this innocent, naive girl in a heap of danger, and she was able to get out of it, and it's done really well. There's then also really grown-up moments about where the first time she kills someone, and then all of a sudden you just mow enemies down throughout the rest of the game, and that's fine. There's a load of moments where it's grown up like mad, and then there's a load of moments where it's just unreal and fictional, the absurd. Lara should be a zombie after about the first 3 hours of the game, because the things she survives, falling down and slamming into things and having rebar into her guts and things, the things she actually survives should be dead in the real world. And I think it's a shame that they do so much of this to the grown-up part of the story, and then right near the end it gets even more absurd and it turns more into Tomb Raider. And again, I don't understand the choice. It's almost as if they decided halfway through that they're best off doing that, and I don't know. What I'm in now is one of the tombs, as you might have noticed, but I'm not going to show you how to solve it because I've already solved it, so me going in isn't going to show you a damn thing. So I picked that carefully to go into this one. And the tombs work well, but this is again why I hate the multiplayer. Because the multiplayer was shoehorned in, it feels like the story and the game and that was rushed in places. And one of them is the tombs. There's only a handful of them, there's about 10, maybe 11 or something. And they're just one puzzle. You go in, you take a look, you solve the puzzle, you get your reward, that's it, you're done. It then updates your map and tells you where some things are on it, even though, as you can see there, I've done 100%. Even though that's like that, it still tells you that there's stuff there, and if you aren't 100%, then it will actually show up some new stuff. The map as well is worked with a touchscreen, as you might have noticed, or the touch part of the pad, and that works amazingly well. It's really sensitive and it's quite cool. And it's just a nice little extra. It's something that I enjoyed having there, but it's not essential or anything, which is kind of the same for all of the PS4 exclusive stuff, which I'll get onto very soon. Back to the tombs though, it's a bit of a shame that put this multiplayer in, because I would have rather, and I think a lot of people would have rather they had no multiplayer at all, and instead made the tombs 2 or 3 puzzles and just made the single player that little bit longer. It's almost as if the tombs were an afterthought, and they thought, you know what, this game's called Tomb Raider, we should probably put some tombs in. And they just don't, they're all pretty much optional. I mean, you go through them and you just find them accidentally, and it's just one of them things that it's a little bit of an annoyance that they're almost consequential. It's almost like, as I say, the thought, well, we should put them in rather than we want to put them in. But what is there does work quite well, and I am happy with it. And it's just a shame that it would have been a better game if there was just a little bit more of it, you know, if there was just in this places like that. Onto the PS4 exclusive stuff. I've mentioned obviously the touchpad. There's also speaker options, which I'll be honest, I had them switched off the entire time because they didn't add anything for me. Personally, there's motion controls, which I switch them off too because I can't stand them and I don't think the game needs it. There's voice controls with the camera, and guess what, I again had them switched off because I don't think they work very well. A lot of people were reporting even before I got the game, so I thought, well, I'll try and see, but a lot of people were reporting that just reloading your gun, if you had it on loud enough, would actually bring up a menu or something for some reason. And it was apparently picking up the speech of the villains that are very talkative, to be fair, and not just the main ones. I mean, when you're walking around, the essential cannon fodder, I suppose, they're very, very talkative and vocal, and they say some words that can trigger off the camera. So I thought I'll just switch it off after like 5 minutes or so and not go back to it and not bother. Music wise, there's nothing I can shut up and let you have and listen to because there isn't really any music. I mean, it's like all atmospheric stuff, and it works really well and it keeps you absorbed, and it's great like that. But it's very rare there is actually a key piece of music that actually happens, and it's usually during a key scene. Gameplay wise, controls and that work amazingly well, but every now and then there's the odd glitch, and I don't think it's with the controls, I think it's with the camera and just like the I can never remember the word of it, like the hitboxes, I think they're called, on like fighters, they're called hitboxes. Well, it would be on the same with this. I mean, that there, I jumped, and even though I feel I should have been able to grab onto the bar, it didn't grab onto the bar. So sometimes you've got to redo sections, you'll find yourself redoing them because you fell down the mountain or something, and either it's killed you or you've just got to climb all the way up again. But it's not the problem with the controls, it's a problem with the detection, you know. That there, I was bashing square, because square's how you slam your hook into the wall, and it just wouldn't do it for me, even though I could have done it. So you'll find things like that every now and then, and they're a little annoying. Gun controls and that, and the guns themselves work amazingly well. The bow and arrow works amazingly well as well. As far as I'm concerned, there was a lot of people complaining that the dual pistols were gone and instead replaced with bow and arrow. Honestly, I think the bow and arrow is now a part, as much of a part of Lara as the dual pistols are, and if in Tomb Raider 2, if they make the bow and arrow there with dual pistols, then I would be over the moon. And it's one of those, about the dual pistols, you might have noticed that you only actually get the one, and that is something that probably angered people a lot. But I think it works well the way it does with the upgrade system, because otherwise you'd have to get 2 silencers, you know, and you'd have to... But it's something that they could look at for the sequel, that's for sure. And the only other thing I can pretty much see is obviously the way the kills and that works is great, and the graphics on it and the detail, which is going to sound a little bit weird, but I think it looks amazing. The fact that you can zoom in with every single item, like every weapon, even the bow and arrow, even though it originally doesn't have a scope, I was using the combat bow there. I think it's really weird, but at the same time cool, because it helps you set things up. And it's just nice the amount of detail you can go into. You can actually incapacitate them by shooting them in the knee or something, so then you can go in and do a combo move on them to finish them off. There's even a combo move that shoves an arrow in the knee, which I can only assume maybe they were thinking, you know, Skyrim's pretty popular, then that's going to be a popular meme, let's do that. But it's just one of those that there's nothing much else I can say about it other than, if you've never played it before, it is definitely worth getting. It's amazing. If you have played it before, if you've got it on another system, then unless you like the multiplayer and didn't buy any of the DLC, it's not really worth it. For me and my brother, it was a good circumstance because we were able to actually buy the game and get it traded into that after a couple of days or so. So we were able to pretty much make our money back, if not a little bit more. So I was very happy with that, and that's pretty much all I can say about it. And the footage has ran out because I knew I didn't want to set any story up or anything, so I actually used the share function to see what it felt like trying to do a review of that, and I actually think it's worked okay, and I might end up doing it more often with PS4 games. So that is all I can say now. The footage is done. That just to reiterate, it's an amazing game, but it could have been a bit better, and I really, really am looking forward to Tomb Raider 2, if they make it. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.